Banter fam, happy Tuesday to you all. Okay, guys, we're seeing a little bit of a short-term bounce. I want to remind you, this little phase that we're in here is called a shakeout phase. It's basically here to kind of shake the market out before the market wants to start to pop again. We spoke about this yesterday, that don't get too bearish now, or don't change your views too quickly, because the market can trap you and move very fast. And what we could see is, we could see right now that we do have a little bounce in Bitcoin. I want to speak about, is this bounce legit? You know, where's the big areas to kind of know we might reject, these type of things, right? But the big thing to pay attention to here is, a week ago, we did awake a very big altcoin, the one that's been sleeping for a long period of time. This is Ethereum. Right now, not only is this bullish for Ethereum, as you could see here, that the ETH Bitcoin chart is really starting to get into favor of ETH. And zooming out here, ETH has such a long way to grow over Bitcoin, right? It is showing that this move from ETH, or this momentum that is starting with ETH, can be something that really grows for the next couple of months, right? And that is a very big sign for us to stay involved with the market, because again, this market ain't done with no bull market until the alt season has happened, right? When alt season's happened, then we know bull market's over and we can start preparing for a high time frame push. But as it stands right now, we have not seen it. So again, when markets are coming down, again, you are seeing altcoins get punished a little bit more, right? But as the market starts to rise up again, you could see that there definitely is a tide turning to altcoins, which means, again, judging altcoins on the way down, you over time will realize that altcoins do struggle on the way down, but they are absolute powerhouses to the upside. So now we look at this and we see that ETH bounce alone is looking pretty strong. Right? We look, not only that, the dominance has started to reject, okay, on the other side of that big trend line. And you could see that the moment this market wants to go bullish again, you could see that this dominance wants to point to the downside. Therefore, you'll start to see a bunch of altcoins start to wake up today, okay, and you'll see over here, you know, a couple of decent gainers. So today, what I have for you guys is a couple of new, fresh altcoins that I don't speak about too often. I got a couple of the same ones. I want to speak about ETH, I want to speak about SOL, these type of things. But I got a couple of other tokens that are really showing strength right now. And it's quite ironic because they're sitting in different categories, different narratives that I think are going to start to explode at any point. So today, we focus yet again to not get shaken out. We focus on building our damn entries, and we keep getting ready for the mega altcoin catch-up pump that is going to set us far beyond anyone else within this market. We still have a beautiful year ahead of us. We did have the highest monthly close on Bitcoin. There is, if you zoom out, there's a lot of bullishness that is forming up here. We zoomed in, we paying attention, and let's get ready for the next move. So guys, no more wasting time. Let's go. Where's my video here?
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like Sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Fam, guys, how are you doing out there? Headstrong. I need you to work harder than ever right now. 3 weeks time, you can start relaxing. You can start making money a lot easier than the rest of the market. Now, you grind, baby. You grind every day. We show up every day. We keep building in the chop. The chop is where the millionaires are born, right? Those who are in the chop before craziness happens, you know, are the ones that set themselves. Before Bitcoin went to all-time highs, there was chop. Then there was a result. Before Bitcoin went into the 100,000s, there was chop. And then the explosion happened. Before we went from 80,000 back to the 95, there was chop. And then there was explosion. Again, we fight here, we work hard here, and we will be those on this side of the result as the market starts to move. So again, the main thing is, you have two sides here. It's like a damn football match, right? We have defense and we have offense, right? Offense, I think we are incredible at offense. Offense, okay? Offense, we are incredible, right? Defense is where we have to just keep improving our game. When this market wants to chop, have your limits on important money, have stop losses on important money. When you get stopped out, take a breather, wait for the charts to show that there's strength again, and get back in. Keep moving. Make sure that your defense is strong, that you can survive chop. But what does that mean by survive? Make sure that important capital gets stopped out, that you're sitting with this capital for better entries when the market wants to move up again, so that you can take advantage of pullbacks and you can stand on the damn table and dance in excitement when this market is pulling back, rather than, I'm I'm in a loss. I'm sitting here. Should I sell? Should I this? That is the whole goal here. And again, if any of these things have already impacted you on this journey, I need you to let go of the damn past. It's done, right? Get yourself back up and get going again. It will all make sense and it will all compound and it will all repay you plus more, right? That's what crypto does. Crypto rewards those who survive, rewards those who are patient within the markets, and those who are impatient is those who lose the money, and those who are patient make the entire capital as well. So it's important to just, it is what it is. And remember, you are here to be rich in 12 months to 18 months. Right? You are here to be rich in that time. So a little slowdown in 2 weeks when there was momentum, the momentum stopped, don't matter because you're here to make a lot of money in 12 months. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you time to really understand that you are building a lifetime skill here and you're riding this market for what it is on the bigger time frames. You're not allowing this little millionaire mindset where I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. You know, you kind of get flushed and nothing works like that. But you can get rich in 12 months. And that's where your brain's got to go. So it just means when the market chops, defense mode. When the market's breaking structure, offense mode. And just make sure that these two modes of yours are waxed. Every time you take a hit, you get them and make them a little bit better. And I promise you, the big wave will come. And when the big wave comes, you're going to sit there and be like, damn, I survived those 40 waves before I surfed the tidal wave. But I'm in, right? Super important. Guys, okay. Let's jump straight into it. As I'm starting off over here, I want to remind you guys that I am doing a leverage workshop for 1 hour for those who want to understand leverage, those who want to understand how much money do you put into it, because I actually traded a very little amount of my money in leverage, but it's one of my most powerful tools when the markets go up. I make my most money on leverage, and I use the least amount of money of my portfolio is in leverage, right? So I'm doing a private event. To get into this event, you just have to have a deposited CoinW link. So if you go here below the video, let's just see if it shows it over here. You just have to register for the event. The event's happening on Thursday. Okay, this is where you register. This is where you get in over here. Anyone that's in Sniper Club automatically can come into this. Okay, but for anyone that wants to get in, you just fill out this form and you'll see you'll open up a CoinW account and you will join me for the private event over here. I've never done this before, so it's the first and it's going to be incredible. Okay, let's jump into it, guys. I got two scenarios today. Okay, the first one is Bitcoin's dump's not done yet. Okay, and the second one is it's done. Let's kind of get ready for the next move. What I can tell you though is ETH is coiling up. ETH is getting stronger day by day. It is getting strong. And again, this is the sign for us that altcoins are getting strong because it always falls. And I'm so glad it's finally getting back to this again. We saw a little bit of, it wasn't regular what we saw beginning, I think it was at the end of last year. We saw memes go crazy. We didn't see ETH pump much. I'm so glad that the market's getting back to the neutralization of it. Where Bitcoin goes, ETH goes, large caps, alt season happens. Right? Again, alt season will always be the last thing that happens. So when your altcoins print you a shit ton of money and make you a lot of cash, the bull market's about to end. Okay. Until then, you got to understand that things are going to unfold in certain levels. So what we've seen is obviously we've seen a very strong Bitcoin. We've seen Bitcoin now on these areas of here on the high time frame looking incredibly strong. Right? The next one now is obviously start to see ETH start to catch some barriers. Remember, ETH has one more resistance here. And the next resistance is back at $4,200, right? So there is a big gap over here when it comes to where ETH goes next, right? And it will probably very much go in a straight line. Okay, I just want to show you the power of this. When ETH last time went through this chop, this phase over here, right? It basically had this big resistance ahead of it. And it's the same resistance we are fighting today. Before this big chop happened, ETH was going parabolic, it was strong. Okay, and then what it had was it had this important area over here where it finally started chopping, and it came up to the previous bull market support, this area over here, this low over here. And you could see here for the matter of 6 to 8 weeks, we struggled. But the moment that it cracked it, you could see how it went literally in a straight line to the next major area. Now, if you fast forward again now and you look at where we are now, we are fighting this low over here, right? This is why we're seeing a bit of turbulence, why we're seeing it kind of sit flat, okay? But we also know that straight after this, we know that that is where we go parabolic, where things start to move, right? So yet again, this is the last control of the bears when it comes to ETH. Otherwise, ETH is back at 4K. Now, if you start thinking at the mentality of where the market's at, a lot of people have doubted ETH, or a lot of people have thought, hey, this thing is kind of dead. What happens when it's at $4,000 again, right? That hope starts to disappear. We've got to understand that hope to this is really happening is a fine line, right? Because you would not be here today if you didn't have that bit of sense that we are in a bull market, that Bitcoin is going to go parabolic, that there's still going to be an alt season. That's why you're here today and why you're watching, right? There's still that hope. But hope and this, it is happening, is their fine little line, right? What is that little line? That little line for me is Bitcoin breaks all-time high now, right? Is anyone going to doubt it anymore? Is anyone going to say, whoa, okay, this thing is really in a bull run, right? ETH starts to break out to $4,000. Is everyone going to doubt anymore that ETH's strong? No, they're not, okay? Which means, are you going to have a problem buying ETH anymore? No, you're not. Why is people struggling to buy in this market right now? Because they are unsure, right? They're sitting in this, maybe it's going to pump, maybe it's not, maybe it's going to... But the moment that the confidence emotions are out, everyone's going to buy, right? So again, you look at all of these things over here, and after this resistance is the confidence that comes within the market, and then everyone's going to buy it. Why it's been so tough for us as a community? Because we are fishing where no one is fishing, right? We are those guys, you know, when you arrive at the lake, and you got those fishermen that arrived at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? With their torches, and they're busy fishing over there, and they're busy out in this. We're those guys, right? It is cold. It is miserable. It is terrible. It's not nice, right? But the earliest is the best way to get the best place of where you're going to fish, get the best things, get everything set up. So when everyone else snoozes and gets there at 9 o'clock in the morning, you have the breakfast going, you have the food going, your rods are in, you've already caught 7 fish. You are pumping it, right? It also means that later that day, you can leave earlier. Okay, because those who started later are going to leave later. Those who started earlier can leave the party earlier because they've achieved the objective. They made it. They got to where they got to get, right? What happens if we have this goal that Bitcoin is going to get at a $200,000 this cycle, right? Because that's kind of my ideas. Around 180, you know, is the kind of areas for this specific cycle, right? Again, I still think Bitcoin's $1 million in a couple of years, okay? Now, what happens if when Bitcoin's at 140 and you've already achieved all your financial dreams? We haven't even gotten to the big target yet, but you're already there. Therefore, you can bank 90% of the cash and you can trade 10% of the cash and you just enjoy the rest of the book. That's where we want to be. We want to be financially sorted out before we even near the top. That is the goal, which means we have to get there at 4 a.m. in the morning and start going so that we can leave and be home by 6 p.m. at night, snugly in bed watching Netflix, and we have all the damn fish in the damn bucket over there. We have our favorite drinks, our favorite this, we have our family around us. Boom, right? Deal. Exactly. So, likes to 1,000. Don't worry, buddy. The moment that this stuff breaks, the likes will get to 1,000 very much. But the loyal ones, I see you and I love you. Those who like every day that are here, you're the reason I stream every day. Okay, well, I stream when I can right now, right? I'm streaming. Some days I'm trying to take a break now and then, but I'm pushing hard. And the moment that these things break, you'll never see a harder working Sheldon ever in your life, right? I'm just teaching you right now, stay in the game, stay in the game. So that's ETH, and obviously we know all altcoins over here strong. Now, a couple of altcoins that I want to mention, I am going to call them on short time frames. There's a couple of trades. The first one is TON. TON is breaking a very big weekly trend, a big trend, right? TON had an incredible rally last year, big rally. Telegram in crypto, huge community, huge amounts of users, right? Incredible, right? Then went into a bear cycle. And what's also incredible is before TON actually had a big rally, there was a very big area here where accumulation happened, right? And I always say that accumulation is what creates results. So when something goes sideways, when the pump happens, you will see the pump is as big as what the sideways was, right? Now you get another way of accumulating as well. And the other way is also if it starts to accumulate to the downside like this. If something starts doing this, this is still considered accumulation. And the size of that and one pump, right? They say the pump is as big as the accumulation. So what you see over here is the first thing is when this thing went into accumulation, this area over here, it sat here for a while and then exploded. This was when the biggest people that actually understood what TON was, right? And those who, because a lot of people made a lot of money on TON. They made a lot of money on TON, okay? But the ones that made a lot of money were here, right? You are back here. You are back in where the big investment zones are TON at. Secondly, trends are breaking over here at this point. TON had a higher weekly high last week, okay, and now sitting in a fat zone. So as an investment, as a entry for the bull market, as that TON is in an incredible area to buy, right? High time frame, mid time frame, and I got short time frame trades that I'll give a little bit later on within the show. So TON for me is an opportunity. It was a token that was not available months back, that is now back. Good fundamental blue chip token, a token that I see pump after Ethereum pumps, or as Ethereum pumps into the large caps over here, is TON. The next one that I want to show you guys over here is Render. Render for me, one of the strongest tokens fundamentally in one of the best narratives that I think are going to be the exciting narratives, right? We got gaming, we got /AI, we got these ones that for me are going to really do incredibly well when we are in full-blown alt season. But this is one of the blue chips of those narratives. And this for me falls under the large caps. And this token for me is quite simple. Okay, before we saw this massive parabolic run over here, we had one sign. The first sign was we put in our first weekly higher high. Then after that, it had a bit of a pullback and it went absolutely parabolic, right? Where if you look at where we are now, we have now put in our higher high. We're now coming down for a higher low. And I think we are going to get going incredibly strong with Render. So Render is another token. If you just zoom out over here, you are buying when the investors are buying. You're buying when the smallest percentage of highest intelligence and wallets or whatever it may be, right? When they are buying, and those that make the most money in crypto, you're buying in the same area. Plus, you are buying on a higher high. You're buying on a higher low, high time frame, great entry on Render. Not only do I think that these entries in the bull market can get you back to the tops and give you an idea of what that looks like a 200 to 250%. I honestly believe that this is going to be a $20 to $24 token, right? When it comes to market cap, when it comes to size, where they are at, blue chip in the industry that they're at, I think they are going to be incredible. So I think that this could actually turn out to be a nice 3 to 6x gem on the long term. And this ain't going super degen. This ain't going big as gambler and going for the tiny little, the fact that you can look at 3 to 5 to 10x entries on blue chip tokens is just incredible. That's where we are at right now in the market. The market has been sucked out. It has been dry, right? But it ain't dead, right? Bitcoin ain't dead. Nothing is dead. We're actually at that point where the rebirth's about to happen. The restart's about to happen. So Render is a big one. Then a token that I've been buying a lot of right now, okay, is Nakamoto Games. For me, one of the blue chips in the industry, one of by far the highest performers and best tokens to accumulate right now, okay? And this thing is not only coiling up on the short time frame right now, this thing is yet again back at investment entries, okay? Not far from a real breakout. On the short time frame, it is actually broken out, and that's why I think it's really good right now for midterm, there's short-term entries and long-term, okay? I think that this is about to hit a parabolic run at any point, okay? And my first areas is this thing getting back to the tops, okay? Which yet again, if you just look at where we are right now, this is a 600% mover. It is in the gaming. It does fall a little bit under the alt season category over here, which means, again, if you look at these columns that you're seeing over here, it kind of tells you where most of your money should be, right? Now, for me, personally, I think Bitcoin is overvalued right now, right? I think it's just a little bit more expensive. So my Bitcoin bag is a little bit lower. But as you work your way down, that's exactly how my money is distributed, right? Is I have more in ETH, I have more in large caps, and I have a little bit less in alt season, because alt season tokens are going to make way more, but I don't really put as much money in them. So yet again, NAKA is something that I'm taking, but I also understand that, hey, this is falling under a part of my investments that's a little bit of the least capital, but bigger gains. NAKA is a big one. One that I'm building a lot of right now is AVAX. AVAX for me is one of the tokens that are going to be incredibly strong in the gaming industry. Okay, and I want to buy something. This is by far a very strong blue chip token. right? We know what this token does. We know how incredibly strong it is, okay? But here is AVAX in the high time frame entry here. It has broken the weekly resistances. It is retesting right now. It is at investment entries over here, okay? And my next targets for AVAX is actually a pump to the 50-60% mid-range, basically where ETH is right now, right? ETH has started pulling itself back to that 50-60%. Okay, range over there, and you could see that just from here to here, and this is more blue chip style, there's a 200 to a 300% entry over here for higher time frame, right? Huge, really good. So this is another one that I think if you're going to try fight 2 or 3% or 5% or 10%, it don't matter for the high time frame. This is a great entry on a great blue chip token, right? So there is AVAX. And one more that I want to show you guys today, which I think is an absolute incredible entry right now, is 𝗬𝗏. 𝗬𝗏 has put in its first higher weekly high. This is a higher low. It is at the lowest investment entries you get within this token. Just want to remind you, before you get bearish or anything like that, this token went into new lows, and after that did 1,200%. Right? When everyone is like, this thing is dead as hell. We are back there. Not only are we back there, if you look at the early signs of what started this pump, this thing was doing lower highs, lower lows, all the way down. And then there was a sign for the first time of a higher weekly high. You see that? Once it made the higher high, made the higher low, boom. Now, again, I want you to think big today. We got our A and B mode, our A and defense mode. The collapse here. Think about this, guys. Think about this collapse in Bitcoin dominance. What's stopping these tokens from doing this? What's stopping it from just boom, go, right? And the sad thing is then everyone's going to come and, Sheldon, where can I buy? Right? That's what happens next over there. But nothing is stopping. So yet again, this is a great entry and a higher time frame, mid time frame, great zone to accumulate 𝗬𝗏. Okay, let's go and zoom in on today's play. I have two scenarios. Okay, let's speak about this area over here, okay, which is the bullish scenario. Again, there is support on Bitcoin in this area, and I spoke about this yesterday. I said if this market needs to bounce, it needs to bounce here. Otherwise, there's two scenarios this is going to play out. Because if you look at a couple things, you look at Bitcoin itself, right? You could see that the daily stock's at the bottom and getting ready to turn on its way up. So that means two things. It means either it's gone through side, it's going to really start printing slowly and then speed up, right? So just going to slowly go up for 2-3 days and then boom, right? Big short squeeze. Or they're going to shake out one more time and then go, right? Because that's going to bring in the power. But we know it's coming. We know that the strength on the bulls is coming here. You never doubt this because every time, where the hell were we the last time this was at the bottom, right? Was here, right? And obviously a massive rocket happened over here. So this scenario here is a slow grind from Bitcoin up and a mega short squeeze. We have this big bull flag that is forming on Bitcoin. And this is where all the support is sitting right now. Okay, and why I think this is a valid support and why it can be a very strong bounce area from this market right now is if you go here, back here to the weekly on Bitcoin, this is actually the previous all-time highs. Okay, the closing candles. If you look at this over here, you have this closing candle that happened obviously in December, okay, and this low over here in January. But if you look at those two closing candles, which is known as the bigger supports you get, right, that is where we are currently bouncing. That is where we are seeing short-term, which means if Bitcoin decides to bounce here this week, do not get it wrong. Bitcoin is strong as hell, okay? And remember, we are here to attack this $130,000 to $140,000 as the next target, right? So this support, if it bounces here and this turns green this week, guys, incredibly strong, right? So there is reason of why this could bounce here, and there's also reason of why it could come down a little bit lower, right, over here too. So what that means, I'm zooming in now, is to see that this is the first play. I don't expect it to go to 110 today. But what I do think happens is I think we start climbing up over 2-3 days. In that time, I do think Ethereum breaks out. I do think a handful of altcoins start to break out. Then I think the big squeeze happens. So you could see that right now, the big top trend over here is the big short squeeze of where the big squeeze. And again, I still think when we get through the zone, we are going to see a very strong rally very quickly. Okay, but this is the play here. From today, we start bouncing. anywhere in the zone of 103, 104, and we start making our way up. In that time, your altcoins start moving like this, okay? And all we want to see on alts, okay, is to break this trend line on top over here. Then altcoins start their squeeze. Altcoins might actually lead the next pump, right? That's what a lot of the charts are saying. We could see altcoins lead the next pump, right, over here as well. So again, this is what I see happening, a little bit of a pause, and then we start breaking through. Keep this trend over here in mind, which means all your altcoins right now are forming very incredible trends. If you look at that Solana, take the top 2 points, that's your trend of big breakouts. You go to ETH, you go to all of them, you will see the sexy ass trend line. It's a very important trend line. Make sure you got it, right? Let's talk bearish scenario. Bearish scenario looks like this. I don't see us going sub 100. I just see a short-term shakeout. If we don't get through these highs properly in the next day or two, there might be one more shakeout. Again, I think your altcoins are going to hold better. So let's go back here to the alts. Let's go here to your altcoins. Here we go. If the shakeout happens, the shakeout goes straight back to the lows. I don't see us making much lower low than this over here. Okay, and then we rocket through. Okay, or again, this is what happens in the play over here as well. So that is, but it's not like, that's why I think investment entries and long-term entries you get today, I don't think you should be fighting so much for 5%. I really don't, right? Leverage is quite simple, right? Leverage, wait for the damn trend line to break. When the trend line breaks, trade as much leverage as you want, right? Again, be smart. Less money, more counts, yes, okay? But that is where you trade leverage. For now, just sit in your hands with leverage. Focus on the other parts of your portfolio that are very important. Let's go through ETH now. This is what I see happening with ETH. If the shakeout for Bitcoin to 102 happens, then I see this. Not much lower, right? Over here. This is my play right now. I see a little bit of sideways here, and then ETH starts going, and it starts ripping and starts moving. And the ETH Bitcoin chart is telling me the same thing. The ETH right now is sitting in this flag. It broke out a couple days back, okay? And now it's sitting in the sideways phase here. I just want to show you over here, this big little flag that we are seeing over here. Once it pops through there, guys, there is a very big short squeeze on ETH to Bitcoin. And that's a big move. Remember, high time frame, this is 100 to 200% outgrowth of Bitcoin. I think it's time, right? I think it's time for ETH to have that rip. Here is Solana, guys. Sol has this trend. This is what I see happening. If they're going to shake us, they shake us like this. Then they get going, right? But Sol, once we crack through here, Sol gets released. Okay, Dogecoin, there's the trends. We ain't far from them. So what that means is the bears have a limited amount of time to shake us. If they don't shake us, the market's going to slowly move up for 2-3 days, and then it's going to pop. And it's going to rip galore, and it's just going to create this mega short squeeze to come. This Bitcoin dominance at any point now is going to start reversing hard. We are still on the other side of the trend. We're still not putting a higher high. I need those who believe to keep believing, baby. Because when this thing comes down, there ain't no more debate, right? Let's go through the alts that I just spoke about. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 is in very good entries. And I want to show you guys here on the daily here too. Look at the risk to reward right now on 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏. Okay. This is the move. This is the next big resistances at 20 bucks. This is the buys. This is where I'd protect myself. Look at the red and look at the green. Okay. Your risk to reward is incredible right now. This is why you should be fishing, right? For me, this is a great entry on 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏, great risk management, and your result is up to a 200% pump on the midterm. Right? Let's go here to AVAX. If I show you guys AVAX, this is my play here on AVAX. Right? AVAX, I see this slowly climb. AVAX will pump when it breaks this trend over here. Right? That's the trend over there where it really starts to break. Which means this zone that we are in now is my buy zone for AVAX. Okay, and again, for as long as we're below the trend, any important cash, just ladder in and just have some cash for a little bit cheaper, right? Nonetheless, if I zoom out here, and I look at, hey, where would I actually protect myself on something like this, right? And I put this in and I say, hey, I'll protect myself this area over here, which is 11%. But I look at when we break this next high, where we're going. We are going 50 to 60% of the range. This is a 92% trade with 11% risk. Incredible risk to reward, right? Good trade. This is a token that I bought a lot of, and it's a trade as well as an investment. Nakamoto, breaking the daily wedge now. The next resistance is at the 618, which is at 1.2. This is a 190% trade for a 23% risk right now. New fresh tokens I'm bringing you today, right? That is another big play for me today. Another one is Render. This is the risk. 22% risk for 103% reward. Again, this is not even us breaking to the highs. These are trades that I'm talking about right now. Renders on 618, which means that it basically pumped, pulled back to the sexiest pace you get, and I'm looking at the next leg to push us to these areas over here. Render is a trade and opportunity for today. Now, again, if you are a leverage trader and you want to get interested in this over here, that's quite simple for you, right? If you put in this trend over here, you will see when it breaks out. That, as a leverage trader, is when I'm interested. But just remember something. If you want to buy it right now, you got to ask yourself the question, where am I going to protect myself? Okay, so if I want to buy this right now and I'm protect myself over here, okay, you put this in over here and you say, what does that mean? That means 6%, which means if you're going to go trade on a 10x leverage, if you get stopped out, you're going to lose 60%. That's not the right leverage to use right now, okay? But if you use 2x, not a bad entry right now, which means pay attention to where you're buying these things, because the next step here is if it breaks this trend here and then pops and you buy here, right? You can put a tighter stop loss now because you know it is. And then you can look at it and be like, how much percent is this now? Ooh, that's 3%. Now I can 3x. Now I can 4x, right? So it just depends. If you want a low leverage now and your risk is good, go for it. Okay, but if you want a higher leverage, wait for the trends to break. Your risk is better. Fantastic. Okay, again, short time frame. Another token that I think that is going to rocket, right, is TON. TON for me is at a strong level. That's my risk to reward on TON. That's where I'd protect myself. It's 11%. Okay, and my reward is 65%. TON. Piyush, great to have you here, sir. Absolute great. How's the fam over here? That's a fun fact. I only started with maybe 150. I have no idea what that is, Peter. No idea. Is that a meme coin or something?
I think he means dollars. I think it's portfolio, man.
Ah, 150. I started my entire journey with 300. You got it, baby. Go become a millionaire. You got it. Go fly, buddy. Yes. Fantastic. I am at 2x. Will increase on breakouts. Yes, love it. Fantastic. I love it when where's OMH Chainlink? Okay, let's go through a couple more over here as well. Let's go look at the links and things like that. Let's go through on Link. So Link is here at this point. Any trading, I'll trade when it breaks here. It's telling me don't force trades with Chainlink right now. The best thing to pay attention to Chainlink right now is high time frame entries. Right? Where it's at right now is incredible. It's outside of the bear market territories. I just want to show you guys over here. Outside of the bear market territory where investors are buying. Okay. And yes, your next target is $32. But again, I think Chainlink is $100, right? So again, this is a great area to accumulate Chainlink. Probably not the best area to start trading it right now. 𝗬𝗎's making its way down. Okay, it had a little bit of a hack, starting to slow down a bit over here. What I'm really paying attention to is that, do I think it's the cheapest altcoin to invest in right now? I don't. Okay, I think it can still do well, but I don't think it's the cheapest. I would rather buy Solana or 𝗬𝗏 or AVAX. We'll split my money over those than 𝗬𝗎. But it is a token that's going to go parabolic, right? So this trend for me is when it breaks, I'm going to trade the crap out of it, right? Hey, future millionaires. Yes. I promise you this community is going to have the most millionaires by far within the rest of the markets. Okay, let's have a look over here. Guys, remember, if you're looking for a good exchange, there's two I'm speaking about today. One's CoinW if you want to join the leverage event. The other one is 𝗬𝗏𝗡. 𝗬𝗏𝗡 are running incredible competitions right now, but you know they're having incredible sign-up bonuses. You get an entire school if you sign up with my exchange link below in the description. There's a lot of perks that you get. So 𝗬𝗏𝗡, shout out to 𝗬𝗏𝗡. If you're looking for exchange, I trade a lot with them. Incredible. Okay, let's go look. Another token that I was keeping eyes on this morning was 𝗏𝗡. Let's go look at where 𝗏𝗡 is. Okay, another token that I think investment-wise is a decent area where I'd protect myself with this token. Let's have a look. Okay, remember, I'm not going to shut up this week with high time frame entries because when this market pops, I can't talk about them anymore, right? So again, you could see the risk to reward right now of where we're at right now. 27% risk, but your reward is 184%. 𝗏𝗡 is also a really good investment over here. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Love you all. Keep your head strong. Today, focus on long-term and high time frame entries. Put your trend lines in your favorite tokens. I've given you a couple of fresh new trades today. When those trends break, enjoy your leverage trading. Until then, focus on the other part of your portfolio. Love you lots. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Goodbye.